PKN, episode 291. Taylor can't be with us tonight. He has a family emergency, but we expect him to come back soon.
Yeah, he'll be back tomorrow. Should be. Yeah, sorry we did the show today. I like having the show out on Tuesday, so you get a little more value out of us. But yesterday we had a whole thing where, not blaming it on Taylor, but Taylor had to postpone. He had an early or a late dinner or something, an early dinner, and then we couldn't work our schedules out to accommodate him. So we like to get everybody in, but impossible this week. So it's just Woody and I. You get a Woody and Kyle show, which I don't think is so bad. Nobody likes that Taylor guy anyway.
Him and his accents. He can't even play Tarkov, that guy.
How many rubles does he have?
None.
Right?
Not one. I made a finance video today because this stock market stuff is kind of all over my mind. I tried to look into you. So I think we were either playing together. I just hung out while Kyle was playing, and he said, "Woody, what do you think of this? The actions that Trump is taking to help with the stock market?" And I was like, I feel like I don't know the details yet. So I looked into it. Mm-hmm. I don't know that the details are knowable.
They're not. It's TBD, as he said today at his conference, to be determined.
Yeah, I've heard something about a $1.5 trillion bailout of different industries.
Yeah. I've heard 1 trillion, and the different amounts for different. I know the airlines. The number I heard was 50 billion.
Okay,
that they were going to get, and then other industries, like all of the other industries, maybe.
How do I get my palm out for that money, huh? I fly tandem sometimes.
First step is don't be an independent contractor or self-employed individual. It looks like all of you guys out there who are like, especially if you're in an affected industry, you're gonna get a check. How much it's gonna be is TBD, as Mr. Trump says, but $700 to $2,000, I would guess. You're just gonna get a check. Your taxes are pushed off till well into the summer, it seems. Your deadline on that. Lots of huge stuff. I was talking to my dad about. I'm sorry if you want to continue with the finance thing.
This is fine. I guess what I was going to say was, historically, these plans haven't been as bad or as expensive as we think they are. Now, I know nothing about this plan. I don't know that it's knowable. But the auto bailouts, they made money. And the auto bailout I was kind of for, and I was right. It really did help them. They really did need it. And because of that, we still have a vibrant GM and Ford. And, it was the right idea to invest in them. And they came back and did well.
They did.
TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program. In short, for you guys that don't know, there were all these... They changed the rules that made it easy to lend towards mortgages in particular. The thought process was, hey, we'll lend to riskier people. But if we take 100 riskier people, then that risk is averaged out. If I make one loan to a bad guy, then that could go really horribly wrong. If I make 100 loans, then on average we can predict how they'll do, and that was the idea, that you pull these mortgages and you can lower your standards. And it didn't work out that way. A lot of people weren't able to pay their mortgages. There were all these foreclosures, etc. So the government came in and said, we'll buy this bad debt. We'll do the Troubled Asset Relief Program. And I was against it. I was like, this is awful. We have socialism for the rich, but not for the poor. We have private gains, but public losses. And I was outrageous. I was wrong, though. The Troubled Asset Relief Program made money. Not only did it bail out banks. Banks really did go out of business, but it bailed out, and they were consolidating. And anyway, they bailed out the banks, which is actually a good thing. And the government made money on these troubled assets. So I was wrong at the time. I made the wrong call. I wrote my congressman, told him I could never vote for you again. But I was wrong. It turned out to be a plan that was better than I understood. So here, $1.5 trillion they're spending. That's the number that I've heard. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, I heard a trillions day from.
Okay. So and
who knows though? They're throwing around hundreds of billions of dollars.
Around
1,000.
W's time. I don't know if you were in the working world during W's time, but no. He gave out $600 to everybody. And what it actually was a sort of advance on your tax refund. So if you would normally owe nothing, you'd owe $600. If you normally get $1,000 back, you'd get $400 back. People are keeping up. So I don't know what this You said 700
This
to
is
$2,000.
free money. Well, yeah. So Trump keeps, it's gonna. Congress has to do this. It's not Trump. Like Trump
Right,
has.
right.
He doesn't run the Treasury. I mean, he kind
He's
of
just
does, but
influential.
yeah. But it seems like they have bipartisan support to get some money to the American people, and everybody wants to give. He's like, everybody wants to go high with it, and I'm good with that. And so they're like, they start doing some quick math, like
Mhm.
4-person family and this amount, there's 330 million Americans and $700 a person. Well, TBD, but we all want to go higher. We all want to go higher. And it's like, all right. Well, we'll see. But I don't think they're going to give any money to us.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of not giving to the rich, and it sounds self-serving.
Oh,
right?
it has nothing to do
People-
with
I'm
with
listening.
like,
You think
I
independent
think
contractors?
I think it's people who are, or yeah. I think they're gonna really try to target the most affected industries. Not that we're not. I mean, I guess we're not really being affected by this, like personally speaking, on a financial level. If anything, more people are around to watch our content.
Maybe. On the other hand, I could imagine ad revenues drying up in a few months or even right away.
I don't know. I mean, Amazon is flourishing.
I see
And
both
a lot of
sides.
big
Yeah.
companies are about to get injected with a bunch of cash that they can pump right back into that ad revenue world.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, who knows?
Lots of huge monumental things are happening. Like that's where I was leading to earlier when I was talking to my dad today, and he's like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my lifetime. And I'm like, I don't think so either. I got to do some research, but I don't. There's so many things happening. Like I saw that nobody can be evicted for the next couple months, regardless.
From HUD. I don't know I don't know, but I think that's the
Hmm.
Government Housing and Urban Development Program. But again, it's hard to get details on so many of these things.
Yeah, I watched like 40 minutes of the press conference today, and my understanding was, and I guess maybe I didn't pay very close attention to that particular portion, but my understanding was nobody's getting thrown out for the next couple months. There's because there's so many people out there in the restaurant industry, the that are just basically
Yeah, what
fired.
else? Yeah, restaurants. I'm sure there's
Airlines. I mean, I'm sure that like
in the
a
short
lot
term,
of
airlines are
if
running
you're in
empty
like a really
planes.
quarantined area, everything, bus driver,
Yeah,
buses aren't running.
I didn't know that.
There's a lot of places with quarantines. Now maybe that especially affects other countries because like in Italy,
Yeah,
they're locked the fuck down.
they
I
are
keep seeing videos.
having a grand time on their balconies.
Reddit's like, we get it, Italy. You've all got balconies. Cool.
I saw one guy who's like, showing pictures of people playing tennis on their balconies and singing, other guys with instruments, and his balcony
Did you
crazy.
see the one guy putting on a concert?
But this guy was on the not cool side of the building, just all by himself.
Oh, I saw a guy playing My Heart Will Go On, which is the Celine Dion song from Titanic.
Okay.
Near, far, wherever you are. And he's playing on the piano very well. And maybe his girlfriend or whoever is over his shoulder, sort of panning from him to the many people out on balconies. He's in like one of those like U-shaped apartment complexes. So like everybody's out there like listening. And then all of a sudden you hear a saxophone join. And she looks over and some guy like on like one floor down and like 5 apartments to the right is like fucking jamming out with him. And he's like, all right. And he like slows down a little so that guy can like catch his beat and then done. And then they just fucking keep just jamming out.
I want to see that.
The crowd's like, wow.
Musicians have this talent. It's funny. Like they communicate non-verbally. It just takes a couple of beats and suddenly they know how to play together. They've never met, but they're cool.
Yeah, they know the song. It's I don't know. I guess it would be like dancing or something, if you both know how to two-step, you can just get in rhythm with each other.
The song, that might be the case in this one. Sometimes I feel like they don't. They just know how to play together. I don't know music like people do.
Sometimes I think maybe what you mean is like the saxophone doesn't play every note. But the saxophone has a way to play that song because it's not a lead instrument normally. It's like an accompaniment to the piano. And he to credit what you said, you're absolutely right. The sax guy like knew when to be in and when to be out, and it was pretty cool.
It's super cool. Yeah.
He's done it before. He's done this shit before.
So
it's crazy out there, man.
I wouldn't know.
I'm at a 1 now. I'm at a 1. My most concerned level. It's pretty nutty. So many stuff that I've never seen before. I don't think maybe anybody's ever seen before.
I feel like I have. Dude, I remember in 2008 during the housing crash,
Okay.
reading articles about how guns were going to be a more familiar and important part of our life, and they talked about the path that like either Nicaragua or Venezuela or one of those South American countries took. And you're like, first it's pistols, and then it just becomes normal to see AKs on subways. And
Like we're going to
stuff
become
like
a
that.
banana republic.
Essentially. And they talked about like the de-evolution is kind of slow, and there'll be guns and there'll be more danger and crime will be higher, but it's basically where you live and it's what you're used to. And none of that came true. None of that came. America's just like America in 2004 or whatever.
Stay off that Facebook, man.
In 19, this was before that. I think, I don't know what it was. Might have been dig.com. And
It's the same group of friends, though.
probably. In 1987, right? That stock market crash was huge, 500 points, right? By now, that's adorable, but the market was lower. It was a really big drop as a percentage. And, we thought it would just never be the same again, that there was a fundamental like redrawing of the architecture that is the financial markets. And it wasn't. Less than a year
This is like
later.
a slow burn 9/11. This is like
Okay.
it with like no end in sight. Like there was that fear right after 9/11 for a while where it was like, is this going to happen like every week? Like our planes just going to start falling from the sky like every other week, every month? Is this the new thing?
I don't want to work in a tall building.
Fuck no. Like
Right.
you start seeing people talk about new technologies to escape high rises. It's because you thought maybe now that's part of life is escaping your 30-story apartment or office building. And but the fear right now, I think, is like, are we going to cap this thing? Are we going to blunt the curve, as they say? And is it going to, be on the downturn by summer? I hope so. I think so.
I'm sorry, you're still
My guess
growing.
is like by July, like it's still a thing, but people aren't locked in houses anymore.
I feel like an irresponsible Fox News host calling this a big Democratic hoax. But China is on the other side, right? If we can believe
so
them,
they say.
I hear you. But if we get, the doctors are taking off their masks. They're saying Corona is defeated. There's no new cases, etc. I've also heard there's a second bump, like maybe post quarantine, the people who haven't developed that immunity are getting it. South Korea is on the other side of this thing, right? They've seen their spike and it's a bell curve, and they're on the second half of it. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, so this thing takes like 4 to 6 weeks, and then you get on the other side of it, and life is back to life. It would not surprise me if, like, from a sickness standpoint, we follow that same path, right? Sometime in April, we're on the downside of this. It's no longer the big story, and we're on to something else. And if this, in a roundabout way, right now it's killing Trump, right? A lot of people feel like, well, he's lying the entire way through.
CNN is kissing his ass. I don't know. I
Maybe
don't know.
Okay, well, I might be a day or two behind, but they were beating the fuck out of him previously because he just lied. He lied.
You should go on R Conservative and see all the clips they have of CNN hosts like praising Trump's performance.
Okay.
They're loving him the last 2 or 3 days.
So I'm out of date. But Trump was getting his ass kicked when he was just lying about it, when he was playing it down, when he was saying it was a Democrat. The Democrats tried to get me on the Russia thing, but they tried to get me on my perfect call. They tried this. This is the latest hoax, right? That's what he said. And they beat him up. I think if you go towards, June, 3 months from now, that he's going to look like the guy who beat Corona.
I think so too. I think this is going to be part of his re-election campaign. Like when they show that montage commercial of his accomplishments, ISIS on the run, economy up, blah blah blah, jobs, freedom, America, Corona's dead. I think so.
Yeah, so that's interesting. It's politics season,
They had a good press conference today. Like they had good answers for all the questions. They asked about the ventilators, and they're like, "Oh, we got thousands of those coming. We've got this company doing this and this company doing that. Masks aren't going to be a problem in a few days. We've got millions on the way." It's like, all right. So
true, but they all lie. I have a hard time. Trump lies so much. Have you seen the timeline of his different quotes?
Oh yeah.
Those I fact checked it. They're all true quotes. They're all things he said on those dates. I looked in. I was like, "Is this true? This is fucking ridiculous." Nope. Trump is fucking ridiculous. He lied. He denied. He was, and then it turned around to I knew it was a pandemic before anybody else. Literally shit he said.
I saw one thing I do think is bullshit though, that they need to lay off him. The reporter, one of the reporters cornered him today with a question. She said, "Why are you calling this a Chinese virus? This is there are Asian Americans being targeted. Isn't it racist to call this a Chinese virus?" I call it a Chinese virus because it's from China. And I was like, fair enough. He's like, China, I don't know if you've seen. They're saying that it's an American virus, that American soldiers created this virus. I can't allow that. It's a Chinese virus.
I haven't seen that. I don't trust. Trump lies about everything.
No, that's accurate. I've seen that as well. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's called the coronavirus, and he's got to call it the Chinese virus for just to not be wrong, to stick to his guns. What's he doing?
Wuhan flu. No, it's definitely a Chinese virus. Like it
is from China.
Is.
And
yeah,
things that are from China are Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. So he's
I want somebody to zoom in on like that the little the virus close-ups. You can see all the little receptors, and then it's got like slanted eyes
Jesus
too.
Christ! Now that he can't.
It's got one of those patty hats.
Is that what that's called? A patty hat?
Yeah, I think so. Like a rice patty hat.
I can picture it. Yeah, the Vietnamese wear them too.
Yeah. Ding. Looks like a nice hat.
I bet it did the job.
That wasn't meant to be a slur.
Oh, I said
it really wasn't. That's just the noise it makes when I tip a hat. It really wasn't. I swear.
Yeah.
I mean, I got no problem with slurs.
So yeah, I don't know. Big stuff going on. It's like, are people in your world quarantined, or are just staying home?
I am 100% quarantined. I am not going. I haven't been in my car in 10 days, I guess. Like I haven't gone anywhere. The last delivery I got, I made sure I had enough meat, so I got 10 pounds of meat and froze it, and then that was about a week ago. So nothing has come in or gone out of my house in at least a week. I really don't want to get it. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you'll be fine. You're 20 or 30." No. I keep reading that a lot of the critical patients in Dallas right now are in their 20s and 30s, and no matter how old you are, they're talking about it causes permanent lung damage.
Sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is we're all gonna get it, right?
This is not the Walking Dead virus.
No, I think we all get it. It's just that afterwards, your body has the problem is it's new, and your body doesn't know how to fight it. Afterwards, it won't be. And it'll just be part of the annual flu shot. Get it. I think we are.
Why would you think that?
Because
we didn't all get bird flu or swine flu.
H1N1.
I've never had the mumps.
H1N1. I forget the other name for that. Is that bird flu?
I think it is.
We did all get it, and it is normal. The rates for that transmission.
Never had it.
I bet you have. It's just
I've never had the flu
now. Oh well, then you're special. I bet I have then. It's just if you look at it's part of the annual flu shot now. It's a normal, widespread thing. This comes from Sanjay Gupta.
I disagree with Sanjay. There's no way we're all going to get coronavirus, because then 3% of the global population would die.
When they talk about flattening the curve, they're not talking about avoiding corona. They're talking about not overwhelming our healthcare systems so that we don't all get it at once.
I don't think that's all that. Well, a big part of flattening the curve is the red line is the ability of our healthcare system to handle X amount of patients. You've always got that horizontal line, but I think the thing is extinguishing the virus, making sure there's no more of it, like letting it run its course in the people who have it and quarantining them. That's why we're not all getting this. I completely disagree with Sanjay.
These are not facts. These are statistics. Or something like that. I forget what he said.
I disagree with Sanjay. There's no way we're all getting this, because then every 3% of the human population would die in the next 5 years. and that can't just from this.
That 3% number is disputed. It's 3% of people who were like diagnosed die from it, but the people who are getting tested are the worst patients. They're the people who are having the most trouble. Many other people, like I think 3 guys on the Utah Jazz tested positive, and a couple guys from the New York
They
Knicks.
used up like 15% of the entire
on the NBA. Yeah,
in Utah. I wish I remember the exact percentage, but it was like the Utah Jazz got like 25% of the corona tests for all of Utah. They're not even that good at ball.
I hope that's inaccurate now. Is there's many more tests?
Look, I gotta know for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just hoping that they've added 10,000 more tests and that number's small. But a couple guys in the Knicks have had it. A couple of guys in the Utah Jazz have had it, and none of them knew they had it. They're only being tested because they're important assets.
60%.
60. That's outrageous. So my point is, probably everyone on these teams will get it, right? Everyone in America will get it. But most of us will get it like the Utah Jazz did, in which they didn't even know. That guy who tested positive, the first one who touched the mics, he was going to play that night. He didn't know he was sick.
Oh, I know he didn't. I just don't know where this idea that we're all going to get it how that could be accurate, because like we're quarantining, we're treating, and we're preventing the spread of it. And once we do that, it's gone.
We're slowing down the spread of it so that we don't overwhelm.
But we can stop the spread of it. Like if you keep quarantining these people and then treating them, and they don't spread it to anybody else, then it just stops, because it comes from fucking eating bat soup in China.
It started that way, but now we'll see. I am
it can't live without a host, right? It's like it's just like a sci-fi
just
monster.
like the flu, but it doesn't stop. It just exists every year.
That's because there's people with it, though.
I could be wrong. It happens a lot, more than I used to realize. But like everybody, I think I'm right.
All right, I think you're wrong.
Yeah,
but the polite way to say that is Sanjay Gupta's a dumbass. I do not co-sign. As a noted virologist myself, this Dr. Sanjay.
Yeah, what does he know?
Where's he from anyway?
He doesn't have an accent. I think he's American, but I can't be sure.
No, he doesn't. He's a very tricky one.
So yeah, I don't know. That's my Corona stuff. I'm continuing to exercise my Tarkov base quarantine. I didn't even play yesterday, really. I just played offline. Playing labs offline has been my new thing.
I saw a guy. He went into labs with a thick items case and a thick weapons case. Obviously, you can't even, at this point, because of the weight restrictions, you can't even really move well with that. So he immediately hides them in the map, and he runs around the map, killing 16 raiders, taking everything, even their ball caps and sunglasses, and he fills those cases up. And he's got like 3 minutes left before the raid's going to end, and he's like, we can make one more trip. He's just going back for more, just more and more and more. He got 4.2 million rubles of stuff in one raid.
Did he have thermals on?
No.
Oh, I saw never. I may have saw that and didn't fully comprehend what he did. I saw another guy rock this Tarkov stuff. In Tarkov, you can put a thermal in front of your helmet and flip it down. So your vision is just like see in the dark. And people glow white with this. And some players feel like it's a cheat code almost, because you can see in the dark and nobody else can. And the people really pop. Dead bodies do too, and there's fires here and there.
And
so
loot
there's some
does
false
too,
positive, and loot does as well. But it is a huge advantage. The thing is, you're betting, it's like 3 or 4 million rubles, which is a lot of money. My entire kit probably costs like 500,000 to 750,000 rubles if I'm decked out. So you can 3 to 4 million is just to give you an idea on this one accessory, how much you're risking. But it is a big advantage. So this guy had a similar game. He just killed everybody. Of the 12 players, he killed like 10 himself. The other 2 took care of themselves. He killed the raiders, and he got so decked out, so much loot. It was cool.
Yeah, I like running them. They were a lot of fun to use. I bought a bunch when the price dropped.
Is
during
that what
event.
you invested in? Okay.
Yeah. I bought a bunch for like 1.5 million. I bought about 15 pair. So I've lost 1 pair ever. So because you've seen like playing in a squad like we do, I let everybody know that I'm running around with $4 million, not just on my head, because the $4 million doesn't even count my goddamn helmet. So you know, $4.4 million or something if I wear my best helmet.
Yeah.
And so if I go down, they're like, all right, let's secure the goggles. Let's secure the goggles.
Have you had them come back in insurance? You said you
Oh,
only
yeah.
lost one pair.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you died here and there.
Yeah, I've died maybe 2 or 3 times wearing them.
There's a mechanic in Tarkov for non-players. You can buy insurance before your raid, and if you die, you might get it back. Now, like say hypothetically, I'm not in Kyle's team. I kill him and I take his stuff. He doesn't get it back. But if I kill him and leave it on the map, he does get most of his stuff back.
And so
a
you
lot
can
of
commit insurance fraud. You can hide
Yes.
your own stuff. Like if I'm to the point where I'm all full of gear, I can be like, you know what? Let me just hide my main weapon. Let me just throw my weapon away in a bush. I'll take your main weapon. Mine's coming back to me in a day or two from insurance, and nobody's finding it in that bush. That's another thing that makes those goggles incredible. You're looking around the map with your eagle eyes, and I'm like, something's glowing in them bushes, boys.
Yeah. It's a fun game. I'm on a 9-game win streak because, like you said, if you run with teams, you tend to do better. I think that might be part of why I didn't play yesterday. I was like, I'm not going to play solo and end this win streak. I'm going to see how far she runs.
Yeah. I think my best win streak is 15. It's hard to go too far.
My previous
eventually
best
something's
was
gonna happen.
6. My survival rate is like 47%. So getting 9 heads in a row is unusual.
Yeah, it's a great game. They support it a ton. They're always altering it and changing it. It's very different than it was when I started playing just 3 months ago. I recommend it to everybody I know. I don't know very many people who have started off with that $45 like alpha version and not been like, you know what? I'll give them 90 more bucks. This is worth it. This is a good game. All right, let's go.
It's funny how game prices have changed. It used to be $60 is what a game cost, period. Every game was $60. It might have been a Microsoft mandate, like back in the console world. And there seemed like there were very few games that were less, at least new ones, and no games that were more. And then they found a way to make it more with DLC. You know, it's like they sold you half a game and then you unlock the other half. And now games are $140 sometimes. And people who buy DLC will spend a nearly unlimited amount, like the Counter-Strike boys with the red knives and stuff. Like,
yeah, when they involve microtransactions, it can really get out of hand. And expand a game like games that have like lots of expansions. I don't know how much money I've got in Total War Warhammer 2. I would guess 250, but it might be closer to 350 at this point, because like just to like get, you have to buy like 2 games for one thing. You have to buy Total Warhammer 2, and they're like, oh, you wanted to play with the dwarves? Well, you'll need Total Warhammer 1. You didn't already have that? You're new to this? Tough. And so like, all right, well, I'll go buy Total Warhammer 1, a game I'm literally never going to play. It's reduced in price because it's Steam, but then after that, it's like every 2.5, 3.5 months, they're like, the Vampire Pirates. That's our new faction, and they're coming out next week. $10 to $15. And it's like, shit, I want to play as Vampire Pirates. That sounds incredible.
I don't know. I maybe have $150 into Mortal Kombat for Colin. Neither of us play it. He just loves the fatalities. That sick bastard who goes in and practices all the different fatalities. He's not playing online. He sometimes plays against one of his friends, but mostly he just goes to fatality practice and executes them again and again.
It's hard to play those dudes online. They're so good.
I imagine.
I tried to play Mortal Kombat 10 online. I think it was 10. It may have been one of the newer ones. It was a few years ago. Oh my god! I've played through the whole story arc on like the harder difficulty, and it's like, all right, I got the hang of this. You go online, and those guys are incredible. I would imagine it's the same with the UFC game. The UFC game's very complex with some of the mechanics that they've got. I don't know if you ever watched the videos of people doing like really lopsided matchups. I think maybe you can do women against men.
Really?
Like you can. I think I want to say I've seen someone fight like Valentina Shevchenko against John Jones or something.
Good luck.
I could be completely wrong about that, but I've definitely seen one of those crazy mismatches where it's like, whew, and it went the distance. And he's like, "Come on, judges, come on!" and she won.
Nice.
It was yeah.
Did you see
it's
Colby
fun to watch
Covington
those.
talk about Joanna Jurchacek?
I did not hear what he said about that. Now
He he said she was a washed up old fighter who no one cares about ever since she got her face rearranged.
yikes.
Yeah,
At least he didn't mention her fake tits.
he did.
That would have been classless.
He did. Yeah, no, he said that she used to be the boogeyman and now she's the booby man.
Well, that's some mean shit.
He's awful.
On the flip side, I saw him be like, so Tyron Woodley's opponent, Leon Edwards, maybe?
Yes,
That name's in my head.
Mhm.
Like, I think he's from the UK, and it was going to be part of the London fight card, and so he can't obviously come over.
Seems neither fighter can travel to each other.
But they're like, Colby's like, I'll fight. I'm ready to go. Let's just do this. I'll beat the shit out of Tyron Woodley for a check. Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready. And he's on. I like that about him. He's just a troll. You got to take him.
I don't know if
as a
it's
troll.
true. I hope it is. I hope that he really does fight him. I'd like to see that. So Colby Covington has a reputation. Some fighters are always in shape, right? Like Uriah Faber's that way. Chad Mendes used to be that way. The Diaz brothers. In between fights, they still have ripped abs. They still are, the perfect version of them. Other fighters, Daniel Cormier, John Jones, Chris Weidman, are almost known for getting out of shape. You see
Yeah.
John Jones. He is like dad bod.
They have off seasons for sure.
Yeah,
They're like,
with
all right,
off
I'm not going to
seasons.
fight for 8 months.
No, I'm not saying they're wrong. I mean, I feel like most of the people I name that have off seasons are champions, and the ones that don't aren't. But
Yeah, I think those are the guys who like have both job security and they don't need to be so hungry. Like I feel like if you're trying to like rise up in the world, or
Mhm.
if you're not making $1.5 million a fight, if you're making 100,000 a fight, and you'd love to fight 3 times this year, you just love it if they could just
Mhm.
get you in the ring 3 times. Then yeah, you better be staying in shape, dude. Like if you're gonna keep that entourage all paid and that nutritionist on board, like. You
Yep.
better be in shape. You better be. Tony Ferguson. That's a guy. I bet right now, if they were like, Tony, we can do the Khabib fight. Can you make weight right now? He's like, plastic suit on.
Sitting there squeezing his grip ball, like, yeah, of course.
They do that movie transition where like, it's framed like behind him and he's silhouetted in darkness and he's just holding the phone and he's like, way ahead of you. And he like zoom out and he's already wearing the plastic suit, like doing a rowing machine or something awful.
Yeah.
Like he's a monster. They're gonna do that fight no matter what, it seems.
So I saw Chael Sonnen talk about this, and he says this fight needs to happen. This fight needs to happen. The fans want it to happen. This is the 5th time they've scheduled it for people that aren't MMA fans. The 4 previous times, twice Khabib wasn't able to do it. Twice Tony Ferguson wasn't able to do it. This is the 5th time they've tried to make it happen. Everybody wants it so bad. Even the fighters, they don't like each other, but they respect each other. Khabib in his Russian accent, like, yes, he's a fighter, big challenge. This person, he's crazy. I don't know why he is what he
He
is.
is stupid.
Yeah, but the fight needs to happen. Also, they're kind of tying up the whole division. There's like these 2 champs, and there's a lot of other fighters. Gaethje, Poirier, and more. I'm drawing a blank, but I feel like there's 5 guys who deserve title shots.
Well, not Poirier.
Well, he can't. Well, unless Ferguson wins, then I want to see again. But anyway,
Khabib just whipped his ass. Like
he did. Yeah, that's true. But there are 5 guys who I think of kind of elite, who would be in this conversation. If Poirier were to just fight Gaethje, then all of a sudden he'd be the guy again.
if he beat
Yeah.
Gaethje, maybe.
Yeah.
Connor's next in line though, no matter what. Connor
That's
put up the best
possible.
fight against Khabib that really anybody's done. He won a round. Nobody else can say that. It's
Connor
true.
got his ass kicked.
Connor won a round. Nobody else has ever done that. Yeah, he won the second.
Did Poirier go 5 rounds though?
He got submitted. I don't
Did he
think it was,
get
I thought it was
submitted?
3.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Okay,
I thought
I'm
they
not
both
very
went
sure.
3.
But no, I would argue that a guy like Al Iaquinta, who didn't have to tap out, did better than Conor McGregor, who got finished.
He beat the shit out of Al forever, and Al's got that great wrestling. Like Khabib just couldn't really get him down and finish him. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, Connor very well, maybe he's one of those guys. You know, there's like I say, there's 5 guys, I can't name them all. Connor's one of them for sure, who belongs in this title conversation. And some of that's another reason the fight needs to happen. Chael Sonnen says, "What happens if there's just one fight on the card? If they do a pay-per-view for $60, there's no crowd, there's no nothing, just these 2 guys in." There's a name for the UFC Fighting Center, but it doesn't matter. In the arena. And there's a pay-per-view event with hardly any overhead where 2 guys fight and settle this. I'd buy it.
Shit.
I like 5 fights. Normally, people don't know, UFC usually does like 11 fights in a night. And the main card...
14 on this last card. It's
okay.
Like, I like the night of fights.
I do too.
Like,
and I certainly like the last 5. You know, almost every card, the last 5 are interesting. Usually the last 6, you know, like the one that's like Fox or something that right before the event.
I like them
big
all.
too.
I like that, like from the
You're
beginning
right.
of the night, like those prelim fighters, they're so hungry and so tenacious. I like it.
Yeah. I like watching the guys who aren't super fit. Every once in a while, you know, some guy in the prelims has a body I can identify with. And
It's like,
go
dude, you should be a light heavyweight. What are you doing fighting that gargantuan?
Yeah.
Like you just like Popeyes. You get out of there.
Right? But sometimes they win. You know, like
sometimes they win because they're just throwing haymakers and their fists are the size of my fucking head.
Daniel Cormier was fat at 205, right?
Yeah. He should be the greatest 170 pounder of all time.
Maybe.
Instead, he's the second greatest 205er of all time.
And I don't know my boxing that well, but who's the guy that just won a big fight? Luis something, Mexican dude. Fat.
Oh, yeah. He won like 6 months ago. Yeah. Maybe a little more.
So the prelim fights are interesting that way, you know, because every so often you see a guy who just like tough as nails. He's obviously trained, but if he doesn't look like a professional athlete.
Yeah, for sure. And it's even more showing, I think, with the women who because you're so used to seeing like the top level women look like superheroes.
Yes,
like that's as good as a woman gets. It's just about impossible to pack any more muscle on a female frame without steroids. I'm looking at you, Cyborg. But then you see the girls who are like struggling to make 135, and it's like, whoa, honey, why are you wearing a shirt? First of all,
that's 4 ounces, right? Let me help you.
Maybe professional athlete shouldn't be on your business card. like I don't think this is gonna. No, it shouldn't be. Oh God, they'll usually just get the shit beat out of her. They'll. I see that a lot where like one girl is like, looks like she should be fighting 10 or 15 pounds lighter, and the other girl is over there with
your point originally.
Yeah, so it'll oftentimes be like a girl with a pretty face with like a, I don't know, like an 8-4 record or something like that. And it's like, who are those 8 people? Who are those 8 people she beat up? I don't know any of them.
Some of the women in particular, yeah, they can look not athletic, you know?
Yeah, and slow. Like if you're used to watching Shevchenko and Nunez and Rose and all of those like top level girls, and you see like a middling, barely scraping by kind of girl, it's like, that ain't gonna cut it. Like you can see that ceiling that's above them that they're never gonna cross. With the men, sometimes it's deceptive. Now, sometimes you see it. Sometimes like you're just like, oh, you're lucky you're not fighting one of those top 5 guys at 155 like we were just talking about. You do not belong up there. They will destroy you. But oftentimes they're still kind of quick and they can look amazing, the men, and still be terrible.
If I was a guy who was like better than 98% of the other MMA fighters fighting in like the Kentucky Fighting Championships or something, because I'd be so jealous of those fat chicks. It's like you only need to be in the top 25% to make the UFC as a female fighter. It's not that big a crowd to make the UFC in. But amongst the guys, you have to be a real elite athlete.
Yeah, it seems that way. I watched the bare knuckle championship fight the other night with
I didn't.
With Bigfoot Silva.
How was it?
He got knocked the fuck out. It wasn't one of those gross bloody ones either. I can't recall who he's fighting, but he's enormous. You know, he's like 6'7" or something like that.
You know what he has? That disease?
Pituitary gland thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
he's
gigantism.
essentially like, well, I was going to say naturally occurring steroids, but both actually.
Growth hormone.
Okay, I think he's also been busted for steroids at
Oh,
least once. Yeah,
he doesn't need it, or maybe he does. I don't know. He looked slow, and his opponent was also 42. I believe they're both 42, something like that. Maybe even a little older. They were the same age. The opponent was much shorter. I knew the opponent's name too, but he took a bad KO. He just got the other guy was so much faster and was just working an incredibly accurate, long, punishing jab. And bare knuckle, that jab is so nasty. It fucking thumps him.
Chael Sonnen did a thing about fighting over 40, and he was just talking about the respect he gives to people that have a long career. And I think he had a good point. You know, like he talked to another guy. This guy was elite. This guy had won national championships, maybe some Olympic medals. And he would be like, I don't care about your age. I just want to know where you rank. You know, what'd you get? How'd you do? He's like, but later in my career, and he was retired at the time, I came to respect people who lasted 20 years in a sport. You know, if you're fighting over 40, that's impressive. Uriah Faber looks amazing. He looks amazing. I don't know if he's as good as he's ever been, but he's good. And he looks as good as he's ever looked. Like, it's just, the guy fought at 133 like 15 years ago, and now he fights at 135. Like, you know, I don't know about you, Kyle, but I don't weigh the same I did at 19.
No, yeah, he's very impressive. Do they call him is he the California Kid?
He is, yeah. And now
Not anymore.
The kid thing's done. But
drop that.
So I'm really impressed by people who've just maintained decades of discipline and enthusiasm, and that's cool. But Bigfoot Silva, it kind of seems like he's just out there competing, even though he hasn't done that.
Well, he's certainly not in the UFC. He's in the bare knuckle boxing championship thing.
Yeah, stop getting hurt, bro.
He got hurt. Like he took some punishment. That guy rattled him, knocked him down, and they do a standing 10 count in that. So it should have been over right then. The other guy should have been on top with a few hammer fists, a flurry of them, and you get off him. But instead they stand him the fuck back up, and then he just eats a, I don't know, 6-punch combination, 3 of which were bad, and the other 3 all landed, but they were just like, I mean, they were all bad. I wouldn't want any of what they were dishing out. The other night I had a nightmare. We talked about these nightmares we have where you're like unprepared. That's a common one.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't attended this class all year. Oh, the finals tomorrow. I didn't even know I was taking this class. That sort of thing. I dreamed that I had agreed to a boxing match.
Oh no!
And you had set it up, and you were like, and my phone was like, all right, Kyle, I got it all set up for you. You're gonna be fighting, and it was like 30 days. It's like you're gonna be fighting 30 days. They want some promotional pictures, and then we're gonna be doing it at this venue, and this is gonna be your opponent. And I'm just like, what have I done? What have I done? Like trying to figure out what to write back to you. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, I should probably take a boxing class.
Start there. Work on
I'll
defense.
need gloves. Like mine are in storage.
Do I have a cup? Yeah.
No.
Right?
No, I don't own a cup.
You'll want one.
I don't know where my mouthpiece is. I haven't seen that thing in like 3 years. I woke up and I was honestly shaken. Like I don't know. It was the same sort of feeling you get when you have like a near-death experience and you're kind of shaken off that like you just went to the edge and backed off. You know, like that parachute thing you had, I'm sure, or something like that. Like it ruined like 2 or 3 hours of my evening. Like whenever I woke up, I was just like, fuck.
First of all, hilarious that you woke up and it ruined your evening.
I'm glad you caught that.
Second, do you ever have an infidelity like nightmare like that, or that doesn't hit you?
Nah.
Oh, that's one I get. I'll be like, I'll wake up and hopefully it's morning. Sometimes it's not, and it's like, Jackie, I don't have any time for your shit. I know it was just a dream, but I'm still mad. You know? And you
were bad in the fantasy land my brain created last night.
Yes. And I have to like come to terms with the fact that all these emotions I'm having have no basis in our reality.
But they're real emotions.
They are.
The chemicals that correspond to them are real chemicals. And so you get that those feelings. It's dreams are bizarre. Dreams are such an odd part of existence. Yeah, your brain makes it real. It's like the Matrix to some extent, where like the idea of your brain making physical damage real is kind of ridiculous, but it definitely makes emotional damage real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, bad nightmare and bad nightmares can really. I have a lot of nightmares, and like I told you the other night, I was dreaming that the cannibal Indians were after me.
Well,
I woke up so afraid.
the fact that you remember so many of your dreams implies to me, a noted virologist and dreamologist, that you're waking up not on schedule. That something's waking you up. And I wonder if you're getting like proper restful sleep.
I think I am because
Okay.
like I've always been like that. Like I've always remembered all of my dreams.
Maybe you're a light
like
sleeper, and you just wake up a
you
little.
can sneak around. No,
No,
I'd like to
that's not-
say that like, oh yeah, you couldn't sneak up on me.
I'm
but
always at the ready, even during
But-
nighttime sleep.
not the case, unfortunately. That's a quality I wish I had, but it's like no, not that either. But yeah, I remembered that dream in particular. I started out like camping with like a big group of people, and then there the savage Americans were on horseback, and they were cannibals, kind of like Bone Tomahawk, and they sent over a little white girl who was like their emissary because she can speak English and their language, and she's basically saying, throw down your weapons and surrender, and they'll go easy on you. But they've eaten her lips and ears already, and I'm like did they go easy on you? She's like, oh yeah, it wasn't so bad. And she's yeah, not so bad at all. And I'm just like, nah, I don't think so. And I look and like all my buddies are just coming out of the woods. They're new to this situation. I just go, run. And all I have is like a revolver, like an old Wild West revolver. And there's 2 bullets left in this motherfucker for some reason. That's a reoccurring thing. And they shoot me in the ribs with a goddamn arrow. And I get far enough away that I can tend to this wound, and I start trying to extract the arrow. The shaft pulls free from the broadhead, and it's just in me, and I'm just like, well, that ain't good. That ain't good. I try to hide in the water. I get in the water against a muddy bank, and I have it's like one of those camouflage tarps. I put that over me, and I go down low. So all you can really see is there's a little bit of camouflage tarp there, and I'm in the air bubble. Then one of my friends decides that that's a great hiding spot. He just splashes right, and I'm like, all right, well, you take it then. And I run away, and I find a settlement of people like a mile or 2 away, and I'm trying to rally the troops. I'm like, hey, savage Americans right down the path, killing my friends. They shot me, and they're like, well, let's finish up dinner, and we'll help you. And I'm like, well, what are you having? All right. So we sit down and eat dinner. And the whole time I'm like, they might be with the savage Americans. So I'm holding on to the revolver and I'm looking at them. It goes on forever. That turns into them having a paintball course at their house. I take a shower at one point with the pistol because I'm still a little worried that they're with the savage Americans somehow. I go to where they chronograph the guns. It's all indoors paintball. And then I look over and I'm expecting them to have their weaponry ready because I've been telling them, get your guns. Let's go back. We got to save my friends. They've got paintball guns now, and they're going to play a couple rounds before they go back. It'll be good practice for fighting the savage Americans. I'm like, they're probably not. They're probably gone now, guys. I mean, they've eaten my friends at this point. It went on forever.
Ever have the thing where you need to wake up at a certain time and you do reliably, like you have an internal alarm clock? Okay. Take that, park it. In Escape from Tarkov, there's a mechanic where you earn this scav case. And basically, you send out these imaginary AI. You pay them $6,000 in rubles, and they come back and they bring you stuff. Typically, it's worth more than $6,000, so it's a good mechanic. I was waking up like every 2 hours and 20 minutes all night thinking, I got to send the scavs out. I got to send the scavs out because that's how long it takes for them to return. And I just had a terrible night's sleep, but a profitable night in Escape from Tarkov.
I have, my internal alarm clock is amazing. Like when I need to be up, especially like for court, it was always like, the whole night I was thinking like, all right, you got to be up at 6 a.m. You got to be up at 6 a.m. Got to be up at 6 a.m. Wish I could fall asleep. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. 6 a.m. And like 5:58 rolls around, and I'm like, I wake up, and I'm just like, look at my phone 2 minutes, and I'm like, oh, I could have used those 2 minutes. Like turn the alarm off. That's happened a ton. Like just 2-3 minutes before when I'm supposed
Usually
to
it's
wake
good.
up.
That night I wished I could have turned it off. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I could as well, I guess. Send
Alarm
out the
clocks
scaz
suck.
again.
Like waking up when you want to do a thing is great. It's like time to do the thing.
Mhm.
But I have so many more memories of waking up to do something I didn't want to do. Like, all right, time to go to prison.
I woke up to an alarm clock for ages, decades, and it's waking up to the thing you don't want to wake up to. It's like it jolts you awake, and now you have a have to do, and it sucks.
What was your alarm sound when for work?
Same.
Same.
Yeah, the worst. The worst. And
It'll poison a song.
yes, because like I get anxiety. I used to get texts, right? And I changed it to something nice. I don't know, a little guitar thing. This is a beeper, old school, like drug dealers had. And just the sound of it going off would like send my blood pressure and anxiety like to rocket up, because this is a problem. I don't know what the problem is, but I do know I'm responsible for solving it. I hope I can.
I had the exact same thing. I remember in high school, I was seeing this young lady, and her ex-boyfriend didn't care for that. Wasn't going well. Lots of threats. Much. He was a man at 18. All right.
Yes.
I was 2 years younger and a boy. All right. Like I wasn't like he was the Taylor of high school.
Oh,
This man had a much more facial hair than I'll ever have at 18. This was a man, and he wanted to kill me, and he made it very clear. And somehow he'd get a hold of my phone number. He'd send these crazy threatening text messages, and I would see, and so the text message noise became terror. Oh no. Let's see what today's threats are. Let's see if he's after me again. It would just, that's why, like, even to this day, my phone is on silent all the time. Like, not even vibrate, because I get stressed out when I get a text message, because my mind always goes to a scary place. It's like, oh, somebody's hurt.
Yeah. I also kind of feel that way about my text message sound, even though I think it's the Mario, like, mushroom sound. Yeah, something like that. But the phone call one has changed from like an anxiety, oh my God, what do I have to deal with, to it's probably a telemarketer. That's the most likely case.
Who the fuck has the ball? Yep. All right.
All right.
Vinyl siding.
What do they call you about, telemarketers?
So I have the calls that I get. So one of them, the most common one, there's this guy that has some sort of serious legal issues who's named Thomas, who used to have my number. And they sent me a warning yesterday. They're like, look, we're moving forward with the proceedings. You have failed to respond on numerous occasions. And I'm just like, press 1 if you would like to rectify this. And I'm like, I don't know you, Thomas, but I'm going to try. I pressed 1 and it goes beep, beep, beep. Call ended. I'm like, well, I did my best. I did my best for you, Thomas. That's all I got. Carnival Cruise, of course.
Not me.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Student loan consolidation, that sort of nonsense, of course. I told you, I haven't said it on the show. I was just telling you in the call the other night, my dad got a call from one of those scam programs. He was taking a nap. It was like, in the early afternoon or something like that. His phone rings, and I think it went down like this. They were like, we just want to confirm who we have here. And he's like, what he should have said was, well, who the fuck are you looking for? But instead he's like, yeah, gives him his name. Could we confirm the last 4 of your social? Well, what's this about? Well, I'm calling from the FBI field office in El Paso, Texas. We have multiple accounts taken out in your name, a car rented in your name. It has 10 pounds of cocaine in it. We have multiple warrants out for your arrest. We need to confirm this is you. And he gives him the last 4 of his social. And I'm sure what was coming next. And he's like, I want to talk to your supervisor. So they put another guy on the phone. Very convincing. There's 2 people there in the room to do this thing. And he gives a badge number. And it's very convincing. And of course, like, if I didn't have my whole past with like federal agencies, I'm sure it would have been quite as effective on him.
Right.
He'd have been like, FBI. Okay, Agent Mulder. Is Scully there? Let me talk to her. She's always the voice of reason. But instead, it was like, So he calls me. He's like, "Do they call you? Does the FBI just call you like that?" I'm like, "No, they're more of a pop-in kind of agency. They just show up one day and let you know about those warrants, and then they take you away." And so yeah, he didn't give them any relevant information, just the last four of his social and his name, which
that
they
might
can't
be
do
enough
anything.
yeah.
They don't know where his bank's at. They don't know where he banks at, and they don't know. That won't be enough to do anything to him because his credit's all locked down. And the bank that we use is like a very small private bank, and they're really good about. They know us personally.
Mhm.
Like I know them by name, and they know me by name, and same thing with my dad. So like, if they've called me plenty of times, and be like, "Kyle, did you just buy $800 worth of shoes in New York?" And I'm like, "No, no, I didn't. I didn't think so, but sometimes I don't blame you, but I'm glad you stopped it." She's like, yeah. I'll fraud, I'll take care of this. So they're really good about that. So I don't think he has anything to worry about. But yeah, he was super stressed out. He even called the sheriff's department and like confirmed that he didn't have any warrants for this nonsense that agent whoever the fuck had called him about.
That sucks. Scammers are a pain in the ass.
Yeah. And I bet there's going to be a lot of scammers working this new
Corona thing?
the stimulus.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to call and say, "Hey, I don't know if you've heard, but President Trump has released $750 million to be diverted to the U.S. public. Have you been affected by the viral crisis?" "Well, yes, I have." "Well, you may be eligible to receive up to $3,000 cash right away. We just need a small processing fee from you, and we'll be able to overnight it to you."
I've
Let me just confirm your name and social security. Yep. All right. What's your mom's maiden name? Just making sure it's you. And if they
Tell
believe
me more
who they're
about
talking-
your first pet's name and your first
Yeah.
car. And
What city were you born in again?
for the student loan ones that I get all the time, they do tie into current events a lot. When the tax cut, when Trump first took office, he cut some taxes. They were saying that was tied into a student loan thing. And there was another piece of news, but it was like, act now, this thing is happening. Well, I didn't have any student loans.
Of course not. Yeah.
I worked all day. My employees usually had some sort of tuition help.
Well, you certainly don't have many more, even if you did.
Yeah.
It's like,
So, but that's how I was able to pay off my tuition as it came in, and so also took fewer courses.
yeah. Scammers suck. They need to do something about that. That should they need a task force to be hunting those people down. It shouldn't just be that Kit Boga guy or whatever his name is that we had on the show that time.
Yeah. I still catch his videos every now and then.
Yeah, me too.
He seems to be still at it.
He'll catch some Indian scammer and lock their fucking PC down and ransom it back to them. It's hilarious.
There was a different guy who managed to get closed caption footage of their offices, and he laid out the whole office structure, and I guess most of it was legitimate business, but like up top in some back room where the scammers were, and he was able to get video of them scamming him. I don't know how he cracked into their offices, but he got the close.
I guess he's got their IP, and there's that IP camera thing that you could. I don't know.
Something
That's crazy.
like that, yeah. And he figured out the layout of the office, and he had someone in the area fly a drone, so they had aerial shots of the building and the people. And
there used to be this thing where you could guess an IP address and punch it in, and if there was a camera that was running through that IP that you guessed, it would show you the live feed of it. I remember that vividly. I don't remember exactly how. It was either a website that would do it for you or something, and people had lists of the ones that it's hey, you want to see the traffic cam on I-32? Here you go. And you just click it in. And you're just well, this is incredibly boring, but also fascinating at the same time. Just cars going by.
One of the first live cams on the internet, it was pointed to a coffee pot in I don't know, MIT or something. And you could just go and pull up that webpage and see the status of the coffee pot at any given time. Do you need more Joe? Make some Mo. And That's
I
it.
loved the one like maybe 10 years ago, and it was that fake baby giraffe thing.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a baby, it was a miniature giraffe. And
Uh-huh.
I think it was part of like an Old Spice commercial or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but the
CGI was pretty good.
it was excellent.
Mhm.
But they did like this bit where like it was like somebody had saved so much money on their TurboTax that they could afford a mini giraffe or something like that. And that was sort of the ad campaign. And he holds up this little giraffe in the commercial. And you're like, holy shit! And they're like, hey, if you, by the way, we've got a live cam. You can go straight to the miniature giraffe farm. And so everybody's going to this miniature giraffe farm. And haha, that's so cool. They look real, don't they? And Wings is like, oh, that is cool. How do they make them so tiny? He thought they were real.
It would be a cool thing. Like,
Yeah, pocket giraffe. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know. I'm about to expose how dumb I am, but how hard would it be to breed down to a miniature giraffe? How many generations would it take to get a giraffe that was even like pony sized?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I would worry about its little neck.
Something you can
Crickety
do
crackin'.
in CRISPR, you know, that I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I bet with something like I bet if you alter its genetic code, you probably could. Because like if you think about dachshunds, you know, those little weenie dogs, they used to be wolves. Now that took us tens of thousands of years of
I was thinking of Great Dane, same thing. They're not at all what they started as.
Chihuahua, any of those breeds that are
Pugs,
just oh, the poor pugs. They need to
boxers.
exterminate those things. They need to stop making new pugs. Let them go out. Let them die.
Yeah, they're just like awake.
My life is pain.
They have awake sleep apnea or something. They can't breathe. They can barely walk. And you know, every so often, some Twitch streamer will abuse an animal, right?
Oh yeah.
I see him throw a cat, and maybe I'm an asshole, but I'm like, you know, cats are kind of throwable, aren't they? Like,
yeah,
you throw a cat over the back of the couch or something, he lands and walks away.
I think that's the same girl who recently got bitten by her cat, and there's that really funny freeze frame of it's like stretching the skin like way out, and she's going, ah! And it's just that frozen. I saw a pretty popular female streamer get perma banned from Twitch yesterday. They were having like a big Twitch roundtable with I don't know, I don't watch enough Twitch to give a fuck about who these people are, but like 7-8 people, you know, Twitch streamers. And I didn't catch the beginning of the conversation. The clip picks up mid conversation, but the guy goes, "Would you make out with a guy if he had coronavirus?" She's like, "Absolutely," and I would spread it far and wide. I would. She's like, "I just want all the old people to be dead because we'd be better off without them." Gone from the platform.
Really?
It's the end of her. Yeah.
Because that's the kind of nonsense we would say every week. Right? Don't we say stuff that dumb?
I don't know. She didn't seem like she was
Keep
joking.
in mind, you said Savage American about 15 times tonight.
Yeah, but they are. You know, they were cannibalistic tent dwellers. They were savage Americans.
No,
all right?
Look, it's difficult to invent the fence.
I didn't say I wanted them to be exterminated.
I hear you.
You want to see the clip? It's short.
Sure. I'm just trying to think of dumb shit I've said on that list. Oh, I remember one time, maybe it was after a tsunami or something. I argued that the people from that country weren't really people.
Shit.
That's you know, because they're like far away and distant and don't feel like they would if they were here.
Fair enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see that you linked it. Let's see what this says.
Yeah, she's the one in the bottom right.
Okay, that's gonna be loud. 16 seconds. Hold on. Format.
Yeah, it cuts right to the chase. Her name is was Casey Tron.
All right. Ready, set, play.
He had the coronavirus. Would you kiss him?
Yes, and we would leave quarantine and we would try to spread it as much as possible because the world would be a better place without old and poor people.
Oh my God, Casey.
without old and poor people.
I, I need to know her better. Like if she had said that in the context of PKA, I feel like we make that kind of jackassery every week. If this is a sincere belief, then maybe not. And what is this podcast? The Twitch Thought podcast?
Right. Yeah, I don't think it
Are you allowed to show up on this without cleavage? I guess the one girl doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, there's one man there. I don't know how he got this gig. That seems like he's got a pretty good job.
Man, he's like that guy in the YOLO Boys. Look at him, the last frame.
The man lit. So, but no, I don't think I wouldn't say that. Like the thing about this is happening right now, and people are dying. Like in our country and around the world, and a lot of people are afraid. And I don't think it's funny. I noticed that I'm going to hell for this private. The subreddit.
Really? They just turned it off?
They also turned it off. Can't remember what the last thing that happened that was a big deal.
Is it I'm going to hell that did it or Reddit?
They did it to themselves.
Oh, really? They said enough.
Yeah, the admins over there know they'll get themselves banned if they're not careful. When something sensitive happened several months back, and
Maybe
they did the
shooting.
same thing.
Yeah.
A mass shooting or something. I don't remember. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, oh look, they know they shouldn't make fun of this. Maybe it was Kobe, even. Although no, they made a lot of funny jokes about Kobe. See, I think it's fine to make fun of Kobe dying, like because rapist and guy who bounced a ball. Well, like okay, all right. I mourn the others. I know I don't. I feel bad about the others, but everybody always just, it's Kobe this, Kobe that. I don't care about Kobe, but this is like killing random people. I'm afraid for my older family members, and I'm concerned that if I got it, maybe what I read was it if you get permanent lung damage, which this does, they made it sound like a lot, like 30% lung damage, like to the point where you'd be winded from a brisk walk.
Yeah, going up the stairs.
Imagine if you're a professional athlete. Idris Elba has it.
Who's that?
He's the that black actor who they were thinking about making James Bond.
Yeah.
Very handsome gentleman.
I know him now. I remember seeing that. Yeah, he has. Of course, I think Tom Hanks and his wife are out of quarantine. Does that sound right?
Out of a hospital, still quarantined.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities have it. A lot of basketball players have it. That would be super scary if your job is cardio and you get something that sometimes causes extreme lung damage.
That would suck. That would suck for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's too late.
I hope this thing burns up with the summer months. I hope that Trump literally, makes us proud. I hope he does a good job with this thing. I hope he fixes the economy. I hope they never stop calling it a Chinese virus, because it's they created this thing.
I was looking to see what the market did today. It's March 18th.
It was looking bad.
I knew that it was bad, but checking in on it, one down another 6%. That's a lot that's moved so much lately. New York Stock Exchange to temporarily close floor moved to electronic trading after positive coronavirus tests. So they're shutting down the stock market floor. I don't even know how significant that is now. Everyone trades electronically, but
yeah. But it's sort of more of a moral blow than anything. It's
Yeah.
not like they need that guy over there fucking everybody's waving fucking pieces of paper anymore for
And
anything
signals.
that matters.
But
Yeah,
it'll hit them psychologically, right? When the
exactly.
floor shuts down.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Taylor with us tomorrow, hopefully.
Hope so too.
Yeah.
Hope he and his get through this fine.
Yeah.
PKN 291.